What's up, guys? Once again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Larry, and remember, if you're watching me for the first time, kindly like, subscribe and share my videos, and also comment, most importantly. So guys, we all know of the current state that's going on in Haiti. The Jamaican government sent some troops to help restore peace in Haiti, and so did the Kenyan government do that. But also there have been some few allegations behind these stories, and with me today I have a video that the US is accused of being the biggest gangster during this crisis that's going on in Haiti. US has been accused of several accusations that we'll be talking on, or rather about, after this video. So guys, please make sure you watch this video up to the end for a better understanding.
Well, speaking of another country in the Caribbean, Latin America region, where they never stopped interfering, in every possible way, waging dirty wars, anything you can think of, that's Haiti. We want to turn to Haiti now, and we are very honored to be joined once again on the show by Dr. Jemima Pierre, who's a professor of global race at the Institute of Race, Gender, Sexuality, and Social Justice at the University of British Columbia, and also a member of Black Alliance for Peace. Jemima, as always, thank you so much for being with us here on the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, great to have you. I think the last time we talked about this on the show was just before the occupation began, and you predicted that this occupation of Haiti being carried out by Kenya and others at the behest of the United States and the core group would not bring anything positive to the Haitian people. Correct me if you think I'm wrong here, but it seems that your prediction was correct, that this has been a debacle and it has not improved the situation for Haitians on the ground.
Not at all. It's been embarrassing for the U.S. and they're trying to make it seem like something's happening, that the Kenyan forces, military police forces that are there are doing something. But the reality is, all we've had from CNN are puff pieces about, a catering service from Georgia, the country of Georgia, feeding them, so they live in a tent. They're on, Haitians are saying that they're basically on vacation, hanging out in these big tents. And when they do go out on patrols, they hide behind the Haitian police, who are getting paid, by the way, 10 times less. I think Haitian police get about $250 a month, and these Kenyans are getting thousands. And so there's already a discrepancy and a lot of resentment of the fact that these Kenyan police are afraid. They don't do anything. At one point, they were guarding the U.S. embassy when they first got there. And so part of that is, you have to wonder what it is that you have 400 police. They're not even 400. They're saying the numbers are lower, about 380. And then just last week, the U.S. on a U.S. plane, Coast Guard plane, brought in 25, I think, Jamaican and Belizean police to be part of this force. And so it's a farce. The Anthony Blinken was in Haiti about 10 days ago, lying about how great this MSS, the multinational mission, is doing, and saying that it helped open the airport, which is a lie, because we saw actually before the Kenyan forces came that Jackie Charles, the Miami Herald reporter, was walking through the Haiti airport with U.S. Special Forces. And so Haitians know they're lying, that they haven't done anything. If anything, a lot of the armed groups have actually spread out to other places, and they're acting, in almost, tempting them to come after them, tempting the Kenyans to go after them. So it's been a complete farce.
I'm curious, not to center the U.S. so much here, but the U.S. is responsible for so much destruction in Haiti, but the issue of Haitian immigrants specifically has become a national headline in this presidential race between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And what's interesting about that, and the racism in it from, frankly, both parties, is how the actual issues affecting the country of Haiti are completely absent from the way that's covered. So I'm just curious your thoughts as we've seen this issue of Haitian immigrants sort of in the national media while ignoring what's being done to Haiti at the moment.
Yes, I think, what's interesting to me is to say that it is not only J.D. Vance and the Republican Trump and that are racist when it comes to Haiti. The entire U.S. media apparatus, U.S. imperialism is racism, and so yes, we can talk about Donald Trump saying Haitians eat pets, but then what's more racist than thinking that Haitians can't run themselves, that you have to actually control them and occupy them? What's more racist than sending foreign military to invade and occupy a country? What's more racist than Joe Biden's deportation policies, which is worse than two terms of Obama, who's considered deporter in chief, and worse than Trump's term? And the fact that there's still deportation planes going back to Haiti by the Biden administration. Let's remember last year what happened when the Texas Rangers were whipping Haitian migrants at the Texas-Mexico border under the Biden administration. This 2 years ago, sorry. Let's remember that all this happened under the Biden administration. So of course, we can talk about racism, but the racism is not unique to the Republicans. Also, the racism goes a long way. I don't know if people remember. I'm old enough to remember being called dirty boat people. I remember this is in the 80s. I remember in the 90s when the CDC said the Haitians were HIV and AIDS carriers, and so they had the four H's, the hemophiliacs. Haitians was the only ethnic group that they said, and then being kids, we couldn't even donate blood because they said our blood was tinted. I remember that's how you had the U.S. use Guantanamo Bay for Haitian asylum seekers without due process and keeping them in this open air prison because they thought Haiti was were HIV holders. I remember, saying, Pat, what's his name, the Christian minister, saying that it's because of voodoo that the 2010 earthquake happened. And we remember for the past 3 years, the Western media, the same media that's basically going crazy saying, oh, this is a lie about Haitians. It's the same media that said Haiti is nothing but a bunch of gangs and cannibals, right? Up until this past spring, they were calling Haitians cannibals. And so it's the Western media that opened up this space, that created this space for people to believe any crazy racist stereotype about Haiti, because they've been presenting us as if we're nothing but gangs, as if all we do is cause violence, as if we can't rule ourselves.
I'm so glad you brought up the role of the media, because there's a recent Washington Post editorial about, what should happen in Haiti. It's interesting that, they're the authorities. Yes. And one of the things they noted is they were talking about, because, this is the so-called transitional government, and there's supposed to be, elections in 2026, but they said that was too soon. And to connect a couple issues, I thought it was interesting, because at the same time, we're also seeing, the prime minister, Coney, say he wants to double the size of the military. So as much as we're being told that this is, facilitating democracy in Haiti, I mean, it feels to me that the undercurrent here is preparing a real sort of dictatorship style solution, as actually Michel Martelly said a long time ago, the Fujimori solution for Haiti. I mean, it really feels like behind the rhetoric, that's a lot of what's happening here.
Yes, definitely. I just found out, for example, a few days ago that Conil, the prime minister, that, by the way, none of these people who are calling themselves the government of Haiti have been elected. The U.S. handpicked who would be part of the so-called transitional government, and they made the deal in a hotel room in Jamaica. And so let's remember that. But the other thing I just found out was that Cornel's father was a minister in the Duvalier dictatorship. He's a right-wing. So just remember, he served under the even though he had problems with Martelly, but he served under that government, right? So he's very much linked to the Duvalier dictatorship, including his in-laws, Marc Bazin, the World Bank autocrat that the U.S. tried to put against Aristide in the 1989 elections. And so let's see who's running Haiti. The Presidential Council has a majority of the former party, the same old political people, the PHTK, they're in there. And so what the U.S. wants is a permanent military presence. And so Kony, who has no votes whatsoever, who's a long-term UN person that the U.S. put in, and that has agreed to everything, down to abstaining on a vote in the UN yesterday against the vote calling for Israel to stop its occupation of Palestine. Real Haitians would never do that. but that's the use of Haiti. And the other thing, let's remember the U.S. because of the U.S. they've destroyed about 500 houses around the airport. They said that was to support the security mission, right? So my sense is the U.S. is trying to keep a permanent military presence there, and it's trying to use the UN as cover. And this mission is for cover because, these Kenyans are just warm bodies for a larger foreign occupation. We have to remember that the U.S. wanted to have that there to keep it there. And so they're going to say we're running elections as they occupy the country. And they brought in all these puppets to run this government, including the Minister of Foreign Affairs who's, who doesn't really know what's going on. Her first thing when she first got in was like, we don't need reparations for France. And now she's changing tune. But these are the people that the U.S. has put in charge. That to me is racist. Like this idea that Haitians, we are the first free republic in the hemisphere, freer than the U.S. We've been around for 220 years, and you have the nerve to tell us that it's not time yet for us to have sovereignty when you strip and steal and snuff it out of us behind your military and your control of the media and the international apparatuses. So this is the U.S. And until we realize that all these things are related, the fact that the U.S. can get Haiti to vote against Palestine, the fact that the U.S. can get Haiti to open up its doors for these foreign invaders to come and steal and strip our sovereignty and steal our resources, until we see that the biggest gangsters is the U.S., we're not going to actually be able to solve what's going on in the world and in the region.
No, I think that's an incredibly good point, and I think this is something that we're going to have to continue to watch very closely because obviously UN General Assembly Week is next week. One just really quick thing I want to ask you before we let you go here. What is behind, you think, these sanctions on Martelly? Because, I mean, obviously he was such a creation of the Clintons and the Americans, and he was the golden boy of the United States. Now they're trying to, say he's a drug trafficker and all these negative things, which maybe he is. But what do you think is behind the switch there?
I think the U.S. knows that Martelly controls the armed groups in Haiti. The elite control the armed groups in Haiti. And I think, that's what people are saying, that he let them get too much out of control. And I think this is a warning. These sanctions that they put on Martelly are he doesn't lose his property. He just can't travel. So these are very light, for somebody who's behind drugs and armed groups, this is the lightest sanctions placed on this man because he's the U.S.'s boy and they're going to hold on to him. And they had to do the sanctions. I think they're just trying to give him a lesson so that he can reel in the gangs that he controls because he's the one that controls. Martelly has a lot more power than people think in Haiti. His political party is still in control, still has power in Haiti, and the U.S. is still using them. Right. And the U.S. still supports Martelly. Don't believe anything you hear. And I also want to say the U.S. is going to try to turn this so-called mission, multinational mission, into a full UN occupation force. In fact, Haiti Liberté found the document, the draft resolution, which was co-written with Ecuador, to turn this mission into a full UN occupation, which is a Minister 2.0 into Haiti. So we have to, and they're meeting on Haiti September 30th. So we have to keep track of that. We have to pay attention because what they're going to do is use the UN because it's cheaper for the U.S. to use foreign soldiers, but for its own foreign policy objectives in the region.
Well, having Ecuador involved, that's ominous given the role they played in the 90s. Well, so many things we're going to have to see and so many things we're going to have to follow, and we are going to do the best we can. And thankfully, we have people like you, Dr. Jemima Pierre, to help us sort through it all. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time here in the Freedom Side.
Thanks so much for having me.
The government now extending a state of emergency and Caribbean leaders calling an emergency meeting Monday to what they call a, quote, dire situation. And tonight, ABC News speaking to the man behind it all, gang leader Jimmy Cherizier, known as Barbecue. He says the first step in the fight is to overthrow Ariel Henry, and then we start the real fight against the corrupt oligarchs and politicians. The unelected U.S.-backed Henry took charge when President Jovenel Moïse was assassinated 2.5 years ago. Poverty, violence, and hunger soaring on his watch, now even the U.S. pressuring him to step aside. Barbecue is Haiti's most notorious gang leader, a former police officer responsible for an explosion of violence. Even if Henry steps down, it's not clear who takes over or when new elections would take place. In the meantime, hospitals closed. Thousands of criminals have been freed. Access to food or clean water increasingly scarce.
So guys, once again, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Larry. Remember, if you're watching me for the first time, kindly like, subscribe, comment and share. So guys, I hope you've watched the video, and before we even dive into our discussion, I want to really appreciate my subscribers. And to my new subscribers, make sure you hit the subscribe, or rather to my new viewers, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss anything. Comment, also share these messages, or rather these videos, to your social media platforms. So guys, let's just dive in directly. So we all know of the situation that's going on in Haiti. Now, the US have been accused of being the biggest problem, the biggest gangster into this. We've heard of the victims of Haiti complain that the Haiti government or the people of Haiti don't manufacture weapons. They don't. But now these are the troops in Haiti. They have more powerful weapons than those that the police officers are using. Now, a lot of people are coming forward blaming US government for this. And also, as you've seen in the video, the US government sent the US soldiers to Haiti to evacuate the US embassy in Haiti. Now that seems so a little bit fishy. So guys, a lot of people are saying that barbecue is to be blamed, like barbecue is a bad guy. Then also we also have these other people who are saying that barbecue, Jimmy Barbecue, is not a bad guy. What he is doing is just fighting for his country. He wants his country to be freed. I don't know what's your view on this, but most people have termed Jimmy Barbecue as a bad person to the country. They say that he's the person who has brought the country's economy down. He's being blamed for the loss of lives and the destruction of properties in Haiti. Now, you let me know about what you think about Jimmy Barbecue in the comment section. And guys, another thing I want to share with you is that we all know war really brings the economy of a country down, totally down, and it will take a very great time for Haiti to stabilize again. Now, US is also blamed for Haiti's slow growth as a country in general. US has been blamed for that. And with me, I had something that I needed to share with you. And you tell me, according to your thoughts, what you think about this. Now, I want you to tell me about this. I'll just read it out. Is it a coincidence or no that Haiti was the nation that was casted was the nation that casted the decisive vote for the creation of Israel after the US threatened the government? So is it a coincidence or not that the Haiti was the only nation who casted the decisive vote for the creation of Israel after the US threatened the government? Now, other people are saying that could be the cause that Haiti is going throughout all this. Could US be blamed also for a poor economic status of Haiti? I don't know what your thoughts are. And if we have Haitian subscribers who are following, rather watching this video, kindly comment. Tell me what you think. Your voice must be heard. So guys, remember, I'm your host Larry, and if you're watching me for the first time, kindly hit the subscribe button, like, comment and share my videos. Remember, maintain peace. Please. War doesn't solve anything, or rather, I'd urge the governments to have a dialogue with the Jimmy Barbecue. But at another point, we heard that the leader of the Haitian police said that there cannot be a dialogue between the government of Haiti and Jimmy Barbecue because of the chaos, or rather the crimes Jimmy Barbecue has committed in Haiti. Jimmy Barbecue is accused of for the loss of lives and that of civilians, innocent lives in Haiti. I don't know how they are going to resolve this, but this continuity of war in Haiti will bring Haiti down, and until it starts, or rather gets to its feet again, it will take hell of a lot of time. So guys, remember, if you're watching me for the first time, kindly like, subscribe, comment and share on my videos. Otherwise, I'm your host Larry, and until we meet again, peace out.